It all began on a cold December morning. Ethan, my husband of 4 years, was getting ready to leave for what he claimed was an important overseas business trip. I watched him from the doorway as he packed his bags, a strange feeling gnawing at my gut. I couldn't shake the unease, so I called out to him just as he was about to step out of the door. "Hey, Ethan, wait, you forgot something." He paused, looking back at me with a puzzled expression. "What did I forget?" he asked, his voice light and carefree, as if he didn't have a worry in the world. But no matter how many times I called after that, he didn't answer. His silence only deepened the strange feeling I had. Something was off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. As I stood in our quiet house, his absence weighing heavily on me, I decided to tidy up the living room to distract myself. That's when I found it, Ethan's passport sitting right there on the coffee table. My heart skipped a beat. How could he be going overseas without his passport? My mind raced with possibilities, each one more troubling than the last. I tried calling him again, but still no answer. Panic began to rise in my chest. If he didn't have his passport, he couldn't board his flight, right? But if he wasn't on his way to the airport, where was he going? I decided to call my brother, Alexander, for help. He was always the one I turned to when things got tough, and right now, I needed his support more than ever. "Ethan forgot his passport, Alex. Can you go to the airport and make sure he doesn't leave? I'm on my way there, too," I said, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice. "Sure thing, Nat. I'll get there as fast as I can," Alexander replied, his voice steady and reassuring. But as I hurried to the train station, my phone buzzed with a message from Alexander that made my blood run cold. It was a photo of Ethan on the train, holding hands with another woman. In that moment, everything became crystal clear. Ethan had lied about the business trip. He wasn't heading overseas for work. He was going away with another woman. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks, and I could feel anger boiling up inside me. How could he do this to me? I thought we were happy. I thought we had something real. I quickly sent Alexander another message, telling him to follow Ethan and gather as much evidence as he could. I wasn't going to let Ethan get away with this betrayal. He was going to regret ever lying to me. Alexander was good at what he did. By the time I reached the airport, he had already tracked down Ethan and his mistress. They weren't heading to France as Ethan had claimed. Instead, they were on a flight to New Orleans. The betrayal stung even more, knowing that he was taking this other woman on a trip that should have been ours. I met up with Alexander at the airport, my heart pounding in my chest. He showed me the photos he had taken. Ethan and the woman, looking cozy and comfortable together, as if they didn't have a care in the world. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the images. Each one was like a dagger to my heart. "They're heading to New Orleans," Alexander said, his voice calm and steady. "What do you want to do?" I didn't hesitate. "We're going to follow them." Alexander raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised by my determination, but he didn't argue. "All right, let's do this." We quickly booked tickets on the next flight to New Orleans, determined to confront Ethan and his mistress. The flight felt like it lasted an eternity. My mind was racing, filled with thoughts of what I would say, how I would make him pay for his lies. I didn't just want to confront him, I wanted him to feel the same pain and betrayal that I was feeling. When we landed in New Orleans, we wasted no time heading to the hotel where Ethan and the woman were staying. Alexander had overheard Ethan talking about the hotel on the train, bragging about on how luxurious it was. The thought of them enjoying themselves in a place like that made my blood boil. As we arrived at the hotel, my phone rang. For a split second, I thought it might be Ethan, but it was just a reminder of how far away he was from me, emotionally, if not physically. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm of emotions raging inside me. I needed to stay focused. We waited in the hotel lobby, keeping a low profile as we watched the entrance. My heart pounded in my chest as I waited for Ethan to appear. I wasn't sure what I would do when I saw him, but I knew I couldn't let him get away with what he had done. Finally, after what felt like hours, Ethan walked through the door, his arm around the woman from the photos. Seeing them together in person was like a punch to the gut. I felt a wave of nausea, but I pushed it down, refusing to let my emotions get the better of me. I stood up and walked straight toward them, my eyes locked on Ethan's face. He didn't see me at first, too caught up in his own world to notice the storm heading his way. But when he finally looked up and saw me, his face drained of color. "Natalie, what are you doing here?" he stammered, clearly shocked. I didn't waste any time. "What am I doing here? What are you doing here, Ethan? And who is this?" I gestured to the woman, who was now looking just as shocked as Ethan. Ethan opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. The woman, Ellie, as I later learned, looked between us, trying to make sense of the situation. "This is not what it looks like," Ethan finally managed to say. But I could hear the lie in his voice. "Not what it looks like?" I echoed, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "So you're not here on a romantic getaway with another woman? You're not lying to your wife about a business trip to France?" Ethan's face crumpled as he realized there was no way out of this. I can explain." But I wasn't interested in explanations. "Save it. I've heard enough lies from you to last a lifetime." Ellie, sensing the tension, tried to back away, but I wasn't done yet. "And you?" I said, turning to her. "Did you know he was married? Did you know he had a wife waiting for him at home?" Ellie's face turned bright red. "He said you would never find out," she mumbled, looking anywhere but at me. "Well, you were wrong," I snapped. "And now you're both gonna pay for what you've done." The confrontation left Ethan and Ellie stunned. They hadn't expected to get caught, and they certainly hadn't expected me to come all the way to New Orleans to confront them. But the truth was out, and there was no going back. Ethan tried to apologize, his voice desperate as he begged me to forgive him. "Natalie, please. I made a mistake. I was lonely. We've been distant. But I still love you. We can fix this. Let's just go back home and start over." His words only fueled my anger. "Fix this? You think we can fix this? You betrayed me, Ethan. You lied to me, and you made a fool out of me. There's no fixing this." Ellie, realizing that Ethan was trying to get back with me, looked furious. "Wait a minute, Ethan. You said you were leaving her for me. What about all the promises you made?" Ethan looked caught between the two of us, but it was clear he had already made his choice. "Ellie, I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't leave Natalie. This was a mistake." Ellie's face twisted with rage. "A mistake? You used me, Ethan. You made me believe that you wanted a future with me." She turned to me, her eyes filled with bitterness. "You think you've won, but you haven't. He'll cheat on you again. Men like Ethan don't change." Her words stung, but I refused to let her see it. "You're welcome to him, Ellie, but after I'm done with him, there won't be much left." With that, I turned on my heel and walked away, Alexander by my side. I didn't need to stay and listen to their excuses or watch their pathetic attempts to salvage what was left of their affair. I had bigger plans that didn't involve either of them. As soon as I got back home, I contacted the best divorce lawyer I could find. I wasn't just going to divorce Ethan. I was going to make sure he paid for every ounce of pain he had caused me. The lawyer, recommended by Alexander, was sharp and experienced. He listened carefully as I explained the situation, nodding thoughtfully as I laid out my plans. "We'll go after everything," he said, his voice calm and confident. "We'll get you the settlement you deserve, and we'll make sure Ethan and his mistress pay for their actions." The legal battle that followed was intense. Ethan tried to fight the divorce, claiming that we could work things out, but I was done. I had no interest in salvaging our marriage. I wanted out, and I wanted compensation for the years I had wasted on him. Ethan's lawyer tried to argue that the affair was just a mistake, a moment of weakness, but I wasn't buying it. I had the photos, the texts, and the evidence to prove that this was no simple mistake. It was a calculated betrayal. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor, I was awarded a substantial settlement, and Ethan was left with nothing but regrets. Ellie, who had tried to sue Ethan for leading her on, ended up losing her case as well. The judge saw through her lies and dismissed her claims. It was a hollow victory in some ways. No amount of money could erase the pain and betrayal I had felt, but it did give me a sense of closure. I could finally move on with my life, free from the lies and deceit that had plagued my marriage. After the divorce was finalized, I took some time to focus on myself. I moved out of the house I had shared with Ethan and found a new place, a cozy apartment in the heart of the city. It was a fresh start, a chance to rebuild my life on my own terms. Alexander was a constant source of support during this time. He even landed a job at a detective agency, inspired by the whole ordeal with Ethan and Ellie. "Being a detective is my true calling," he joked one day, grinning from ear to ear. "I'm going to make it last this time." His new job seemed to be going well, and I was proud of him. He had always been a bit of a drifter, but now he had found something he was passionate about. I just hoped I wouldn't need his detective skills again anytime soon. As for me, I focused on my career at the beauty salon, pouring my energy into my work. The clients, the routines, the small victories. It all helped me heal. I began to feel like myself again, slowly but surely. One day, as I was closing up the salon, a familiar face walked through the door. It was Alexander, and he wasn't alone. A young woman stood beside him, smiling shyly. "Natalie, I want you to meet someone," Alexander said, his voice filled with warmth. "This is Emma. We've been seeing each other for a while now." I smiled, genuinely happy for him. "It's nice to meet you, Emma. I've heard a lot about you." Emma blushed and laughed. "All good things, I hope." We spent the evening chatting, getting to know each other. It was nice to see Alexander happy, to see him moving on with his life. It reminded me that I could do the same. As the months passed, I started to feel a sense of peace that I hadn't felt in a long time. The pain of Ethan's betrayal had dulled, and in its place, I found a quiet strength. I was stronger than I had ever given myself credit for. I had faced one of the hardest moments of my life and come out the other side. One evening, as I sat on the balcony of my apartment, watching the city lights twinkle below, I felt a sense of contentment wash over me. I was no longer haunted by the past. I was free to live my life, free to make my own choices, free to be happy. I didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, that uncertainty didn't scare me. It excited me. I had a whole new chapter of my life waiting to be written, and I was ready to start. And so, as the city buzzed with life around me, I took a deep breath and smiled. This was my new beginning, and I was determined to make the most of it. No more looking back, only forward, into the bright, unknown future. Looking back on everything that happened, I realized that life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. Ethan's betrayal had shattered my world, but it also taught me some valuable lessons. I learned that I was stronger than I thought, that I could stand up for myself and fight for what I deserved. I also learned that betrayal doesn't have to define you. It's just a chapter in your story, not the whole book. You can close that chapter and start a new one, filled with hope, strength, and the possibility of something better. As for Ethan, I heard through the grapevine that his life didn't turn out so well. The legal battles with Ellie drained him both emotionally and financially. Last I heard, he was living alone, trying to piece together the remnants of his life. But that was no longer my concern. I had moved on, leaving the past where it belonged. I had a new life, new dreams, and a newfound sense of self-worth. And that was worth more than anything Ethan could ever offer. In the end, I realized that sometimes the worst things in life can lead to the best outcomes. I was grateful for the lessons I had learned, for the strength I had gained, and for the chance to start over. My life was mine to live, and I was going to live it to the fullest. The journey had been painful, but it had also been transformative. I had found my way through the darkness, and now I was standing in the light, ready for whatever came next.